Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Saturday Geeks live stream with me, John Parker, and
Me, Jack Erlingham. Today we are talking about the very first Doctor Who episode with Ncuti Gatwa, the church on Ruby Road. And of course, we've now gone back to the traditional Christmas special like we used to many years ago, which I have most certainly missed. I was never really a fan of the whole New Year palaver, to be honest. So I'm quite glad to have the traditional festive episode return to our screens. So, of course, first things first, I think we should address the elephant in the room, as they say. And of course, this was indeed the debut of Ncuti Gatwa, the 15th incarnation of the Doctor. His first proper full-time run as the time-traveling Time Lord. So, yeah, let's just start off with Ncuti Gatwa portraying the Doctor. Honestly, in my opinion, flawless. I thoroughly enjoyed his performance. I thought, he really landed into that role pretty well, especially with everything that was going on. Obviously, him interacting not only with uh, Ruby Sunday, Millie Gibson, and also with other characters in the show. He threw himself around as if he was most certainly the Doctor, and I mean, it is still too early to say, yeah, he is our Doctor. I do kind of give it a few episodes for that. I always have done with everyone. If you remember, I mean, I'm not going to say it's going to go this way, but obviously with Jodie Whittaker's run, when she first started off, I thought, wow, this actually could be pretty good. But obviously, it didn't really turn out very well. But of course, from what we saw in the previews at the end, he does look like he's really getting into it, into the actual
it's
character.
been a good first impression.
It is a good first impression. That's a good word to use. So, I am satisfied with that. So I'm super happy. Now let's talk about the episode in general. So obviously the whole plot point behind this was dealing with mischievous goblins who were just causing bad luck for certain individuals. Uh, I'll be honest. So the story was it was quite a particular nonsensical type plot line. It was a funny one. It was a mischievous one, and a very different kind of plot line. But I don't know. There was something about it which didn't really pull my full attention to it. So I don't know. I can't
I
say
think
I was completely a fan of the plot.
I think so. So I liked it, but I think to have it as Shooty's first episode was potentially a risky move. And
Yes, yes.
I think because it's so convoluted, it did throw my head around a little bit. I understood it, I got it, but
Mm,
like it went from one scene to the next scene to the next scene, and you had to try and keep follow. And bearing in mind, if this was in the middle of a series or at the end of a series, then I could understand it. But it was a little bit of a risky move to put
it
this type
was. It
of
was.
episode as the first episode we see with Shooty and as a Christmas special. Um, but on that point, I still think it was actually rather good. And now I've watched it and now it's processed a bit more in my head. I do think it was a good episode, personally. I just think I actually do echo your point a little bit, Jack, that it doesn't pull the strings as much. It's quite a safe feeling actually, where there's nothing exciting that happened with it.
Mm, yeah.
It didn't go, oh, you didn't really feel that way at all. So you left the episode feeling, okay, that was that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do think it was a risky move to have this as Shooty's first,
Yeah.
potentially.
But I mean, aside from that, everything else about it I pretty much enjoyed. Both the characters. So obviously, we might as well address Millie Gibson as well. So Millie Gibson as Ruby Sunday. I thought Millie Gibson's performance was amazing, very very flamboyant, very upbeat, very energetic. As a companion, and has a mystery as well. Obviously, Russell T Davis's usual extended plot lines over the series. I can see that mysterious character at the beginning and the end in the hood is going to play a pivotal role somewhere, either towards the end or elsewhere in the upcoming series. So, there's a lot of mystery behind her character, which does make her a lot more intriguing.
Someone hypothesized that the woman in the hooded figure was potentially the trickster come back, but if it's a woman, it can't be. So, or at least, well, I suppose it can be, but
the individual has human legs, so
well, exactly, yeah. But no, it's because that little bit of the chin that was visible looked like Trickster's chin.
I mean, if Russell's going to bring in the Trickster again, or the Trickster Brigade in general, I think it'd be interesting. Obviously, they'll take his character to a whole new level, but anyway, that's just a hypothesis and doesn't really land well. Doesn't really, is not relevant to this point, rather. So, aside from that, obviously, we've had some, very good characters to begin with. Obviously, we love Ncuti, we love Millie as Ruby Sunday. And again, I don't know. The plot for this episode was, as we said, they played it safe, really safe, but it's not one that I would have picked out fully. With that in mind, I mean, there isn't really much to go on about regarding the plot. Obviously, the one thing that we can go into is the visuals. Obviously, the main take from this is obviously the goblins. I assume some of them were CG and some of them were puppet based. Some looked either puppet or costumes, maybe.
From what I've heard, and I haven't watched the behind the scenes, so I don't actually know whether I've got this wrong. So you'll have to go and watch the commentary or look at Doctor Who's YouTube channel for this. But from what I remember, I'd heard they basically filmed normal actors, shrunk them down in CGI, and slapped with. Oh, actually, no, I did. I saw the behind the scenes video. So yeah, they had basically normal actors in full makeup, and then visually shrunk them down and then scattered them all over the ship. Basically,
I mean, in terms of the set design, especially on the ship as well, I thought was beautiful, brilliant. Obviously, you can see where the Disney pockets have been grabbed out, and the money's been very well spent.
We could go. Well. Sorry, Bravery Reefy. We could go into the argument of why didn't they hire dwarves for this, because that would be a fantastic role to choose. But let's not go down that road, shall we?
I mean, in terms of this, I don't really think it was necessary. I don't suppose.
It's part of the arguments at the moment going on is that you've got four characters. They need work.
I'll put it.
Ta-da!
That is true. That is true. But that's a whole different topic altogether, I think. In terms of the visuals, I absolutely love the fact now, and it does look like it's going to be mainstream across the whole series. But when the Doctor opens the TARDIS doors, and you can see, a 4-dimensional view of the TARDIS behind, rather than a backdrop.
There was an issue with that.
Oh, did you see an issue?
Yeah, bearing in mind, that kind of work is hard to get the angle right. And when Millie, was it Millie? No, was it? It was either the Doctor or the Millie, when they were standing in front of the door and the door was slightly half open. The camera kind of did this pivot around, look more towards the front of the exterior. And as they did that, the shot that they'd used for the console had done it the wrong kind of movement. So the wall kind of did this move like this, whereas the whole camera was doing this. So it just didn't look right. They didn't match up. And I was like, oh, yeah, they didn't check that. But then again, another little mistake I saw with that. When Millie goes into the TARDIS, you see her open the door. So they've got the full shot, the video of the console looking into it. And you can see the rotor going up and down as if it's in flight. The camera, she closes the door, the camera turns around to pivot, and it's not moving, it's a different colour. So they didn't fully check that footage.
A little bit of an issue there, but Yeah, there's always going to be those kind of mistakes dotted around. Now, one of the things I want to talk about is obviously this episode has debuted everything. Obviously, the new Doctor, new companion, somewhat new TARDIS, kind of. But also the Doctor's new sonic screwdriver. And
Or as
as
Devon specified,
Devon's mentioned, it's let's be honest, it's not a bleeding screwdriver.
No,
Crying out loud, it is not a screwdriver.
it's very strange why he's calling it a screwdriver. It doesn't look like one. You've got to make it look like one to call it a screwdriver. Just call it a sonic probe or a sonic device or a sonic remote
probe,
or a sonic
sonic
lens,
lace,
sonic
remotes. Yeah, sonic something.
pad.
You know, I mean, Sarah Jane had a sonic lipstick. You know, Mrs. Oh God, what was her name? Partners in Crime, Adipose.
Cadogan? No. Oh, what was her name?
Matron.
Matron. No, hang on. Partners in Crime, cast, Doctor Who. Hold on, let's just quickly check the name. Because that's going to bug us otherwise, and I don't want to have to be thinking about that for far too long. Hold on. Miss Foster.
Foster, there you go. She had a sonic pen. So yeah, let's change the name and call it something else and not a screwdriver anymore. You know, if we're going to change a lot of things here, let's just create a new thing there. Call it a sonic remote, probe, lance, whatever. Please get rid of the screwdriver because that's irrelevant now and looks weird as being labelled a screwdriver. So, but yeah, no. Aside from that, I think it wasn't overall it wasn't the greatest, but it weren't the worst. And in terms of a debut, I think, like you said before, they played it safe, and it was decently well received. So I've got no huge complaints, but again, I just don't feel like I was completely engaged in it. I wasn't completely impressed by it. I think if I was going to give this an overall rating, which I think we might as well do now, I would honestly give it a 7, if I'm honest.
What would I give it? I don't think of how I felt the whole thing. See, I smiled through it, but as I say, nothing made me go, ooh. There were some lovely drama scenes, what I would call drama scenes, what Chris Chibnall used to do all the time, but better written, in my opinion, throughout with the family and the gran in the bed. Cherry, I liked her.
Yeah.
She was funny.
Yeah, she was nice.
So
again,
yeah,
I mean, the characters were perfectly fine. It was just how the plot was weaved in was just it just didn't.
It just felt a bit funny. It was a bit complicated, and it shouldn't have been.
It was really all over the place. I can't really find the right word to describe this.
Not the story was complicated. We understood it. It's not that. It's how do I describe complicated in this instance? As in, it makes your brain go, "Oh, what's going on here?" But you know what's going on. It's just doesn't make sense. Why is that scene gone to that scene? Why is that like that? It makes you want to question what's happening. You know what's happening, but you want to question it. Like, why is that like that? What was the dates about? Why was he in a club? Why was he? So you want to question it, even though you know what's going on. But no, I think overall the rating I would probably give. I'm really unsure about this number, so excuse me, guys. I might change this in the future. But
go for it.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go with 7 because it's easier to say 7 because it's kind of like in the middle of the positive side because that is how I feel.
Yeah, definitely. I think if anything, what they really should have done is given Ruby more of a slower engagement with the Doctor, I think. If we look back at companions of old, right, they usually had like a gradual meet and greet before getting thrown with the Doctor towards the end. With Ruby and the Doctor, it was kind of like on, off, on, off, on, off. Do you get that as well, John?
With what? Sorry.
Like, so you know how companions in the past, we've obviously started off with just the companion, and then we've built up to where they finally meet the Doctor and then get fully engaged with them. With Ruby and the Doctor, it's sort of gone on, off, on, off, on, off.
Yeah.
Ruby meets the Doctor, she goes away, he goes away, and then they meet again, and then they go away. He goes away, she goes away.
It's a bit staggered. They're not together enough.
It's kind of like Clara, but obviously with Clara, she also met the Doctor before before the Bells of St. John. So that's different. That's not really the same. So I felt their engagement, perhaps, the engagement with the two of them was sort of stagnated. There's a word. So yeah, that was a bit off. I think that's what really kind of threw me off as well a little bit. To be honest, I did think of it more like it was, when Stephen Moffat was getting towards the end, you could tell that he was getting tired. His writing was getting very tiresome. I actually did feel like we were having one of those episodes almost, where the writing wasn't terrible, by any means. And it was what we were familiar with, but also it just wasn't as I've said, engaging. So, but I think, again, re-emphasizing your point before, they were playing it safe, which I haven't got a problem with. And of course, when the series starts properly in May, we will get a better, not so much understanding, but a better feeling towards both the characters and, of course, Doctor's new life, his new incarnation, and how he embraces that properly with the aliens and the people and the time periods that he goes to and sees, etc. So,
what I will say, Devon's made an interesting point there. Yes, Devon, they are calling it now season 1 officially. So we can keep calling it series 14, but officially it's now called season 1. It's because they've classed this there as a soft reboot again. So yeah, that's why they've called it that. I think they're trying to go back because of Disney Plus taking over. They wanted, because obviously now Disney Plus is taking over. Disney Plus aren't getting the classic stuff, nor are they getting the old stuff. So for those on Disney Plus, they're calling it season 1 because for them it would be season 1. They're going to be going into Doctor Who for the first time from this episode, and they'll have to find the other episodes through other means. That's basically why they're doing this. It's a little bit confusing because obviously they're going to miss some past history about the adoption thing and all of this and all that. But yeah.
That's an interesting point, Devon, about Big Finish. I've never listened to any of the Big Finish stuff.
I have. It was good, but I don't like audio stuff. I don't
I'm
a visual person. I have to see it on TV. That's just how I am.
But yeah, I mean, Russell still has, well, obviously the work's already been done, but I hope Russell has been able to more or less repair the tears that have been created within the show of the past couple of years. Because, I'll be honest, I don't really I don't care about what Russell says. Chris Chibnall ruined the show when he was taking charge. And Russell was saying, "Oh, he's a good friend of mine. I don't want to change anything that he did or erase it, whatever." Yeah, blah blah blah, whatever. The fact of the matter is, Russell, your pal, your chum, right, destroyed Doctor Who. So I hope that
unfortunately, according to the view count, it's still
even after the 60th specials.
Yeah, it's doing bad.
I mean, yeah. there's a lot of work to be done. Well, like I said, the work has already been done technically, so we've just got to wait and see what May brings.
I mean, they keep on saying, all the people who are trying to say as if we're all just what's the bad mouthing the show or something, that oh well, it was 4 million views and that was really good and all of this. Is like, yeah, but if you compare it to the other series, the ones that did really well, it's very poor. Now, yeah, okay, you could say localized, that those views are good, but they're not what you would expect from a franchise like Doctor Who. And you cannot, and this is not including the consolidated, and this is not including the rewatches. We don't count the rewatches because they're rewatches. If I rewatched it now, it'd be counted. Well, that's invalid because I already watched it the first time. Anyway, you could technically count the consolidated because those are the ones who watch it on iPlayer, like me and Jack did. And the initial views are the ones who watched it live on the TV. So, okay, you can count the consolidated, but if you even count the consolidated, those numbers don't match what like David Tennant got. And bearing in mind, when David Tennant was in the 60th, you'd have thought that his view count, or the view count for Doctor Who, would have shot back up again to what David Tennant's were, or closer to what David Tennant used to get. It didn't, because people weren't expecting anything good from this. And then it just kept declining even after the first 60th episode aired, which means that first episode from the 60th didn't do anything to inspire people to carry on watching it. They've already left the building. Chris has done that to the show. They've left the building. I mean, granted, you could say Stephen Moffat actually aided that because it was going down even in Stephen Moffat's era, but Chris made that happen much quicker.
Oh yeah, he made it plummet. Which is
and
quite
now
a shame.
It's not coming back. Russell's Russell would have to completely and utterly change how he was writing Doctor Who to get them back. And this is why it scares us when he comes out with this concept of, well, there's going to be these messages, the message spreading through Doctor. That's why we're constantly on the lookout for this content, this stuff.
It's like it's
because
in the back of our mind trying to pick it out.
That's the stuff that Chibnall rammed down our throats and caused the view count to drop. So, yes, okay, you could argue Doctor Who's have been political all the time. It's always been political. It's always been woke. It's always been... But the thing is, there's a different way about going about it, and Russell used to know how to do that really subtly, where he could put his point across, but it wasn't in your face. The fact that he's now in the commentary saying this to our faces, it's not helping the show, Russell. And to top it off, when on your comments in the Instagram that you've got, you're saying things like tough and poor baby to the public. I'm sorry, but that isn't or a respectable showrunner would do. That's what a child would do. How old are you?
Mm-hmm.
And we expected better from you. So, yeah, we'll carry on watching it because you've made the show watchable again. But if you're still pushing this message, don't expect the view count to go back up. But, I've said me piece. Said me piece, Jack!
Well, I mean, that's pretty much it, really. All I can really say about this. Of course, May, when that series comes around, it will ultimately reveal all.
Before I forget, there's one more quick little thing. The TARDIS exterior, when it was taking off, I noticed they've once again, for some reason, removed the glow effect from the lamp. It was at the start, in the distance, it was at the start, because we saw the glow get brighter when he was talking about the police box where he lived. But then when he was doing the takeoff effects, there's no glow. And I'm like, come on, why have you got rid of the glow? I mean, I know the angle was a bit weird, but come on, you could have added a glow.
Just a little thing. Devon, very quickly, if you want to send your email, you can send it to our email, which is the sapgeeks@gmail.com. John, do you want to put that in chat? Because you won't want to put your email address in the chat here, because otherwise it'll be there forever, and everyone will be able to see it when they come back. Not that anything bad will happen. Just So just send yours to that, and then we can. Well, John can sort you out because he handles all that stuff. So, and then you can join our Discord. if you want to. I think is that how it works. I don't know. I don't really.
Well, I mean, you don't have to join a public Discord server. It's just where we collect people.
Collect people.
We don't use it that much actually, but
You're very
I was
welcome
actually
to come in.
considering whether or not we were going to keep it, to be honest, Jack. But I mean, I use it mainly as a bulletin board, just a place when we've got episodes and what have you. And obviously, if anyone does want to chat, you can use it. I don't mind. I mean, I'll keep the server if people are actually going to use it. But I didn't. At the moment, we've had no need to use it because we haven't been active. But obviously, if we're coming back now with live streams, then
yeah, no, absolutely.
But yeah, no, if you want to email your Discord ID and we add you personally, that's fine, Devon. Just be aware. So Jack's not on as often as I am, but when I am on, which is pretty much every day, I'm normally busy. So
we'll try to communicate as best we can.
That's why I personally would recommend you use our public Discord servers, because if you put it in there, I know it's for Saturday Geeks stuff, and I can reply to you via that means when I see it. It's a permanent record of that. But you don't have to if you don't want to. Just email us that with the Discord. We'll add you, and then
and of course, anyone else wants to get on, more than welcome to. So, yes, that pretty much concludes our stream for today for the church on Ruby Road. Thank you guys so much for watching. Of course, Merry Christmas. I hope you've all had an absolutely wonderful day, and we wish you all the very best for the new year as well. We do hope 2024 brings you some luck and joy. So we're not too sure when the next video will be or what the hell we're going to be doing. It's pretty much up in the air at the moment.
All I would say, stay subscribed, ring the bell, and keep an eye out. And if you do join, our Discord server, you will get notified when we're doing videos and live streams and stuff. Yeah. So
exactly.
That's why that's a thing.
Until the next time, people, do take care. Bye-bye for now. And of course, do remember,
let your geeky side out, guys.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.